Okay, so you're in San Diego, living with your cousin, turned up, and you a little too turned up. She wasn't ready.
Yeah, she wasn't ready for that.
So she asked you to leave, and you've been dating different people in the military and doing your thing. And then you meet a gangbanger.
Right.
You start kicking it with him, getting money. And so what happens after that?
So this is where I caught my first strike.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go all into the detail of that, but basically I carjacked somebody and ended up catching a charge for that. And instead of going to prison, because I was 19, they did this evaluation that says that I didn't have to go to prison, and I signed a strike deal and did time in the county. Okay. Which I'm gonna tell you something. I wish I had went ahead and went to prison. Instead of taking that strike. Okay. Because that was just really dumb. But I didn't know no better. Right? Yeah. And so, anyways, so I ended up so now I'm in the county for 14 months, and my husband, well, he wasn't my husband at the time, my dude, Melvin, was coming and, back and forth, and he was taking care of me the whole time I was in there. And then he asked me right before I got out, would I marry him? And I told him, I said, I like you and I care for you, but I don't love you like that. And I'm not in love with you like that, Yeah. But if I marry you, I'll marry you for stability. Basically what it came down to.
So you were real.
Yeah.
And honest.
Yeah, he knew from jump. I didn't lie to people about nothing. Okay. Even in that life, I didn't lie about nothing. Okay. And I think that was because that's how my mom did me. Like I didn't, if I don't like you, I don't like you. Okay.
It is what it is.
I'm not going to pretend to be your girlfriend. None of that. No. Okay. It is what it is. We just go keep it real about what it is. Right. And so, so I married him when I got out. And I told you he was a really good guy. Just a really good guy. He treated me amazing. He was, he was from the South. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He didn't cuss. He's just a good dude.
Wow.
And I just dogged him. I just did him wrong on every level because I couldn't understand, like, I didn't believe him.
You didn't believe a man like him was real? Like that existed?
No. And I didn't believe that he loved me like he said he did. How can you love me like that? How you love me when I don't love me? If I really show you, and this is always everyone's fear. If I show you really who I am, you're going to leave anyways. Because don't you know everybody leaves? Right? Right. So I think I was trying to run him away before he would hurt me. Okay. And so he just was a good guy. And make a long story short, he went, he was gone, and I was partying every weekend. He was in the military, so he would get deployed or whatever. And I was, partying every weekend, and I met my baby daddy.
Okay. While he's gone.
The devil. You heard me. Girl, I met the devil. That's who I met.
So you still married? He's
deployed.
I'm married. Okay.
Okay, but let me tell you something. I'm married, but the military wives, it be turned up. You hear me? Oh my gosh. You got the girls that love their man, and right. You got the girls that be turned up. Like, okay, they just you married because you in the military. Okay. Right? Okay. So it was like that in my apartment complex. It was turned up every weekend, right? And so my baby daddy was my best friend. Okay. Okay. And I say baby daddy very loose. My baby daddy, that's what he was, okay, right? That's it. Okay, but he was my best friend, and we would club all the time. Okay. And then just one night after the club, I came home drunk, and that was just over with. Okay.
But before that, y'all really were friends.
We were really good friends.
Okay, got you.
He the devil though. Okay.
I hear you.
but I'm not gonna talk about that man. But we were really good friends, and then that morphed into something totally different, and it just went nuts after that. And he introduced me to Crystal. And I'll tell you that the first time I ever did a line, I remember thinking that I immediately, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. Wow. And my life just went whoo, whole nother direction. So now my husband, he's deployed. He's been gone for a minute. I get pregnant by this dude. My husband comes home and catches us together in the bed. I get woke up like this. Just like, oh. When did you get in? You know? And, that's horrible, girl. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lord, forgive me. And anyways, and so then, you know, he's still trying to make it work, but by this time I'm on meth, and I'm not trying to hear none of that.
He's still trying to make your marriage work.
Oh yeah, 3-4 years. 4 years he stayed with me. 4 years. Not we weren't like physically living together.
But he didn't want to let you go.
No, he was a good dude. And what I found out later from him was he said he had a dream when he met me. Mm-hmm. And he said he tried to leave me several times, and God told him, don't leave her. Mm. And so the last conversation that I had with him, before I just went way off the deep end, he told me, he said, Kim, when you find out who you really are, he said, when you come to know who you really are, he's like, you're going to be an amazing woman. You know?
Yeah. He saw something in you could not see.
Man, he saw it, and he tried. He tried hard. Anyways, I ended up running off with this other dude, the devil, and just jumped into a relationship that was just crazy and insane and violent and on drugs and just and anybody that's ever had that drug lifestyle, they know what comes with all of that, but it was just insane.
And this is your first time, like, now you really doing drugs?
Oh yeah, now I'm like on one.
Okay.
Like up for 14, 15 days at a time. I mean, like on one.
And
right.
You like what, early 20s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all my 20s was jacked. Mm-hmm. So then on my 22nd birthday, my son Daniel was born on February 2nd. My birthday's on February 8th. And mind you, I had been using drugs. I did not, I'll be so honest, I did not even know that drugs affected, you know, I just didn't, I was just so far gone, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so he was born, and CPS got involved because he was born post-tox with drugs in the system.
Okay.
And I didn't want to stop, you know, and I look back now and you know, I know it's so hard for people to understand that. And I know it's hard even to hear that. Like, wouldn't that make you, you know, your baby, and you lose your baby, and wouldn't that make you change? No. No.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing gonna make me change. Mm-hmm. You know? And I love my baby, but it also was like, I'm doing this, you know? And anyway, so they took him from the hospital, and then CPS gets involved and all this other kind of stuff, and they're like, you need to go to a program. And oh my gosh, that started a whole nother thing of a whole nother journey of in and out of drug programs. But because I didn't want to change, or because I wasn't really trying to change, I never would complete one or whatever. So, and mind you, I'm still with the baby daddy, and we kind of, you know, back and forth with one another. I'm in a program, and I'm with him. I'm in a program, I'm with him. I'm in and out of jail, you know, all the other kind of stuff, because along with that lifestyle comes jail.
Right. And then where's your husband at?
My husband was in the barracks, I think, or he was still in the military.
But he did try to come back and get you multiple times, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He came back one time, girl, and him and my baby daddy came outside and was like, this is what's wrong with her, and threw a pipe at him. And he was like, what? And then they both manhandled me, put me in a car. It took me to a drug program. You know?
So you were more turned up than even the baby daddy was.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, no, because he didn't know that was, you know, my mentality. I try to tell my kids, your mentality is not, let me try something one time.
Yeah. Because
you might find that one something that you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you are gone.
Okay.
And that's what Crystal did for me. I was just gone. Mm-hmm. You know, and anyways, I don't know. Oh, so just in and out of jail, fighting with him, doing all kinds of stuff. And then we got put out where we were at. And I was like, I gotta get some money.
Okay.
Right? Now, I was not, and I don't knock it, but I wasn't, my mentality was, if I'm doing this, I'm not getting loaded. I'm not doing nothing I'm not about to do nothing for no drugs.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm going to get money. Right? That was my mentality. So it was not, let me do this to support my habit. It was like, let me do this to get my money up.
Okay.
So we can get a spot. And he didn't know I had that back. He didn't know. Right?
Right.
So I'll be like, hold on, I'll be back.
So, okay. So he didn't know you went back into the lifestyle.
No.
Okay.
No, he didn't. And he wasn't with it, but then I kind of turned him out onto that lifestyle. And
so at this point, you're not just going with rich men for $500.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, now I'm hustling on the streets and whatever else is coming. And yeah, he didn't know for a long time. And then finally he found out. And but the money was so good, you know, he was just like, what am I supposed to do about that? You know what I mean? And which actually happens in that lifestyle, which a lot of people don't know that either.
Like the women have boyfriends and
Yep. And they're the one to turn him on to that lifestyle because he don't really know, and they turn him into a pimp.
wow. So it's the other way around.
A lot.
So a lot of people
A lot of times.
perceive it to be completely the opposite.
It's okay for me to drink my water?
We can
Yeah. It's such a buzzword about prostitution, human trafficking, all this other kind of stuff. And the way that they portray it, that everyone is a victim.
Okay.
Right? But there are so many girls that's in their life that I didn't feel victimized.
Right.
If anything, I felt empowered. I felt like I run this.
Okay.
I control me.
Okay.
I'm not giving you nothing.
Right.
Right? And so trying to get people to understand that when they see, especially when you see kids being pimped out, or you see girls that have been beat up by their pimps stuck on the street, you know, of course, that's in that form, that's human trafficking.
Right.
Right? But trying to get people to understand a mindset of the culture and the mindset of, I'm just getting my bag, and that's not, and I'm not hurting you, you're not hurting me. This is just a real transaction happening. And I think that so many people, you know, even in some of these interviews that I've done before, you know, you were just such a victim. No, I wasn't.
Right.
I knew exactly what I was doing.
Right. It's just more palatable for them, but this isn't for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why you see all these young girls, and you see, you know, we talked about it before in the media. We talked, you know, in the hip hop culture.
Getting flued
you
out.
know, getting flued out.
Yeah. All of the above.
Right? All of that is still doing the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Just because you're not on the street, you still doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or in the strip clubs. You shaking it and got it. Let me tell you something. I stripped for 3 months. I was like, oh no, this too much work.
Too much work, not enough
This
money.
too much work, not enough money, and they degrade me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So just that whole lifestyle, that whole mindset, that whole, this is my value. I think it's so jacked up that it's so portrayed by all these great people in hip hop, that what you're telling my young girls, like my baby, this is all your value is worth.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Put a price on it.
Right. Get a BBL, now you a 10.
Okay?
That's lyrics.
Right?
Yeah. That's real. And these little girls are growing up with that as their first.
And they're growing up with that as their image.
Yeah.
All these, okay, first of all, not every woman is built like that.
Nobody's built like that.
Okay? So it's not just a street mentality. This is systemic. This is deeper than us on the street. This is systemic. This is a media and a multi-billion dollar machine, right? that is pushing an agenda, actually.
Yeah, say it.
Pushing an agenda to destroy another generation of young women. Young black girls.
Let's be real.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. And I know, my daughter be like, Mom, you said, I'm like, think about it. You could tag Megan Thee Stallion. She's supposed to be in college. Why if she's in college and all this? And I'm not saying she's not a pretty girl. Mm-hmm. And she got skills. The girl got flow.
She does.
But how come every single thing has to be portrayed? This is what we are. But you're a college student. Why couldn't you promote that?
I didn't even know she was a college student.
Yeah.
Which is your point.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know her tongue be out and she be...
See?
Yeah.
So anyways, don't get me on my rampage, bro. I'll be on a rampage about that. But anyway, so having that kind of mentality, this is my value, this is my worth, I'm the type of person that's I'm in it 100,000%. Gotcha. Whatever I do.
Yeah.
And so I was going all out with it. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna go all out with it. No, I didn't have a pimp.
The whole time you were just doing your thing.
I was just renegading. And I knew a lot of pimps and I knew a whole lot of people and I did, all that kind of stuff, but I just was like, I'm good. I don't need none.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I ended up having 4 kids by that dude.
Okay.
With 4 kids, with 2 babies born with posttox. A year apart.
Okay.
My daughter, with Daniel, I didn't know. With the second one, that was another pivotal point in my life. That was another that was traumatic. It was one that I think it scarred me and shaped me. It was also one of the reasons, the shame and the guilt of losing another baby to the system because of my own choices. That shame and that guilt, it was so heavy. I almost broke on that one.
Okay.
And so I stayed in an extremely abusive relationship dealing with him because that's what I felt I deserved. I used him to punish myself.
So you felt like being with him was a punishment for your overall lifestyle, or what specifically happened with that child?
What happened with my baby?
Okay. Him being taken away.
Well, it was with my daughter. I had been clean for 8 months because now I know, what dope does. And so right. I'm like, I'm not, using, whatever. And I'm in a program and I'm trying to get clean. I'm trying to square up. I'm trying to, I'm not hustling, nothing. And I'm in a program trying to do the right thing. And happened to run into this girl that I knew. And, she was like, Kim, I have some baby clothes for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I go to her house and, it was, they all getting loaded, but I wasn't really tripping because I hadn't been getting high.
Right.
And I'm like 8 months pregnant. And I'm going to get the clothes. I go in a room with her. We sitting there just talking, blah, blah, blah. And she slide the plate over. And I did one line. One line. Not even thinking about it. And it sent me into labor. And I didn't tell my baby daddy because I didn't know what to say. And so when they came in the hospital and they tested her, she was posttox. And as CPS, got involved. And as I was laying in that hospital bed, this time we were all ready to have her and had all this stuff and all this other kind of stuff. And all his homeboys was there. And it was, and when they stepped out the room, he beat me up on the hospital bed. I had to walk. I walked from the hospital without my baby. And I had nowhere to go. And I walked all the way back to that man.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I kind of lost my mind after that. And I don't talk about that too often, but yeah. And then, and I stayed with him. I stayed with him after that. And he, I think he was my personal punishment to me. And I became somebody I didn't know. That's all I can. I don't know how to explain it. I just became a person I didn't know. I had so much shame, and so much guilt, and and then they were like, you need to go to a program and blah 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 blah. And so I was going to the program, trying to fight to get her back, and going to the program trying to, get straight and all this other kind of stuff. And it just never happened because CPS was just like, this is when they enacted the laws. There was a law that they enacted that if you had one baby born with dope in the system, they would take all the rest of them after that. And so, and they only give you like 6 months or something, because they was giving people like 2 and 3 years to get their life together, to get their kids. And I guess the foster system was like, no.
Wow.
And, they don't talk about the fact that like they take our young babies.
Yeah.
And adopt them out like that. So anyways, that was years of just, I stayed with him. Had 2 more babies.
So in total, you had 4 with him.
I had 4 kids, and Matthew is the one that I got to keep. I had him in a program, clean, and was like, I'm keeping this one. That's it. Right. Now, mind you, I'm not hustling. I'm kind of hustling off and on, but I'm more with him, and we're fighting, and, I'm in and out of jail because we're fighting all the time.
Yeah.
And because I'm the one that has the violent strike, so I'm constantly having to go back to jail on violations.
Right.
Right. And anyways, and so at the end of all of this, I have 4 kids, and this is when I decide I'm just going to get right.
Okay. You gonna get right.
I'm gonna get right. I'm gonna square up. I'm gonna hustling. My life is gonna change. I'm going me.
Yeah.
Get it?
You gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
In your strength, cause you strong.
Cause I'm strong, and nothing is gonna defeat me. And I pull myself up by the bootstraps. So now I go into another program. So I'm in a program with my 2 babies, with Matthew and Isaiah, and my best friend Jillian is in this program with me, right? And so anyways, this program is in the heart of the hood, ran by some thugs.
Right.
Right?
For the money.
For the money.
Okay. Again.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm in the program. I finally left my kid's father for real. Okay. Like, I'm done. Okay. Okay.
At this point, what are you believing about yourself, about your worth and everything after all the things you've been through?
I told you I became a person that I didn't know who I was.
Right.
But I think that at this point, at that point, my self-confidence, my self-esteem, was just wiped. And I had so much shame and guilt from my choices. And I just felt unworthy and unlovable. And my identity was wrapped up in this person who I thought that I should be instead of who I was. And what I mean by that is, it was very vain. It was all about the outward appearance and, how I looked and everything, because that's all I felt that I had to offer somebody. Okay. The mentality of that lifestyle or that hustle or that thought pattern was not changed here. Mm-hmm. I just was like, I'm gonna square up. But it didn't change my mindset. Mm-hmm. Dudes was still tricks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just not going to actively get into the lifestyle. And I think a lot of times we do that. We think, if I'm not outwardly doing things, I'm good.
Right.
Not realizing it's the inside that needs to be worked on.
That's real.
Make sense?
Yes.
So I still had all the mindset.
Okay.
My mind hadn't changed. Mm-hmm. But how I thought about myself definitely had from when I was younger. I had a whole lot of confidence in me about everything. I'm a hustler. I'm a this. I'm a that.
That became your identity.
That was my identity.
Right.
That was my identity. I know how to get money.
Right.
That was my identity. And I couldn't see a lifestyle outside of that. At one point in my lifestyle, I was gonna get 100% hoeing across my chest.
Wow.
Because that's how much I was about it.
Okay. Committed.
And I'm talking about big letters too. That's how committed I was to it. Because I told you it's 100% or nothing.
Whatever you're doing.
And so, and I didn't see nothing wrong with that. I look back now and go, wait, girl, I'm so glad you didn't get that. It'd be way down here somewhere. Stop. It'd be sitting on my stomach right now, girl. So, but at the same time, the fact that I just totally burnt his ears out. He's like, whoa.
He woke up. Sorry.
But, so that was my mentality and that was my thinking. And I ran with a whole bunch of people that had that same kind of thinking. That perpetuate that kind of mindset. Right? Mm-hmm. Because, birds of a feather flock together. Right. You going to hang with people who's got the same mindset that you do.
Right. You attract each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but mind you, I told you, never had a pimp.
That's wild.
So, then,
so you
I'm in this program. I'm squaring up. This is me squaring up. Okay. This is my idea of squaring up. I'm squaring up. I'm not hustling. I'm not nothing. I'm just dating the program director over here and the rapper over here and the football player.
Okay.
So I'm a higher echelon of squaring up.
Got you. This is mild. The mild version. Okay.
And I'm being good.
Okay.
I'm the girlfriend, kind of, sort of. No, not really. Right. So, but I'm having fun.
Okay.
Because I just came out this crazy abusive relationship.
Right.
And how I felt about myself. And and I will tell you, sometimes I think that I look back now and I realize I still, because of how I felt about myself, I still try to fulfill that in a man. I still try to fulfill that in whatever else that was.
Yeah. Right?
That attention that you get. So, a lot of girls, they jump from relationship to relationship to relationship.
Yeah.
And don't take any time to get to know who they are.
Right.
As a person. What do I like? What do I not like?
Right.
Well,
they don't even realize that they're trying to fill a void.
Trying to fill a void.
Yeah, and the emptiness that's inside of them.
That emptiness is there. Mm-hmm. It's a real hole in people.
Yeah.
And whatever they fill it with.
That's
if
real.
It's work, if it's school. If their identity is wrapped up in how much money they make. Mm-hmm. Their identity is wrapped up in how many letters is behind their name. Mm-hmm. Their identity is wrapped up in all of these things. It doesn't have to be street stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
What's
it? Sometimes with my husband, we talk to me. How like old dudes, they still have jerry curls, but they got a bald spot in the middle of their head like that.
Yes.
Let go, bruh. Let go. Glory days is over with. Right?
You need that hair.
Right? Cut it off.
Still putting product in the pieces.
But my identity is wrapped up in who I thought I was. So I can't let it go.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So even though I'm square and I'm trying to be good.
Yeah.
Good. My mindset hasn't changed.
Right.
Because I still have an identity crisis.
You hadn't been renewed.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at this particular program, 2 thugs are running it. And my husband, my now husband, who was pimping.
Okay.
Was pimping one of the girls in the program.
Okay. All right.
And I knew him from the streets, and I didn't know him. I knew of him from the streets, but I knew his brother. Okay. And I knew they was pimps. And so I go to this program, and his auntie, who was my homegirl from prison, introduced us. Okay. And I was bent over talking to the baby. That's my son, God baby. He was about 1. And I was like, oh, you're just so cute. Oh, you're just so adorable. What's your name? And my husband was like, I need a mommy. That's how I turned around. I was busting up. Right. And I turned around and I go, evidently he got a mama. And he's like, well, he need another one. And I was like, don't talk to me, boy. Right. Then when I stepped outside and seen who he was with, I was like, oh, you pimping. Oh. Right. Oh, that's not happening.
Right. Because you don't run with them.
I don't run with that. I don't talk to him. I'm not dealing with you. Okay. Right? And I'm still trying to be a good girl. I'm trying to be square. he started talking. So now I see what's going on with him and the white girl in the relation in the program, and I'm just like, you stupid. And she's like, it's my boyfriend. I'm like, he's not a boyfriend, boo-boo. Right? And so he started telling her, let me talk to her. Let me talk to her. Let me talk to her.
Talking about you.
Yeah. And I'm telling her, I don't talk to pimps.
Right.
And then she's like, he's not a pimp. I'm like, tell him I don't talk to pimps. Anyways, make a long story short, that went on for a minute. Just the back and forth conversation. And then he ended up talking to my best friend, Jilly, that was with us at the time. And one of the things that attracted me to my husband from the very beginning, even in that lifestyle, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. If he said he was going to be there at 1 o'clock, he was there.
Okay.
Okay? And I noticed that as he was dealing with them. If he said it, he did it.
Okay.
I never met a man in my life, and he's like that now.
Wow.
Never met a man in my life that if he said something, he did it.
Wow.
No ifs and buts about it.
Okay. That's hard to find in or out the life.
That was the first thing that I noticed about him.
Okay.
And he would tell her, like, I'm going to come get you, and I'll be there at this time. You ain't ready, you going to get left. And he would leave you. So right.
He on time.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do what he said he's gonna do. But anyway, so we started what we call this chess match between me and him, because I started talking to him. And we started this chess match, but I knew what time it was, and he knew what time it was, and we just call it the chess match, you know. And it wasn't like, oh, you about to turn me out or anything like that. It was just like, I like this company, and the thing that I respect about my husband, even to this day, we've been together 20-something years. I cannot have a conversation with that man without learning something from him for 20 years later.
So you really liked him. This is like one of the first times you really feeling a dude.
And I'm only feeling him. I'm not feeling him like that because I know the business aspect and I know what he wants.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling him because his mind, he was just so sharp. Like, every conversation, he could talk on anything.
Wow.
And I love that challenge, you know, and but we knew what time it was.
Yeah.
You know, and so what happened was the dude in the program started tripping, and he was like telling me who I could go out with. He didn't want me to go out with this person. He didn't want me to do that. And I'm like, what?
This is the director of the program.
Yeah. And then he started threatening me with prison. You know, if you don't do this, I can call your, because at that time I had a stay of execution, which means if I do anything, I'm going to go back to prison for 5 years. Okay. So, and I hadn't been in prison yet. They had stayed I did the strike, but I only did that in the county.
Okay.
Which is unheard of. They don't do that anymore.
Okay.
But then they set it up where, I was on probation, which is worse than parole, actually. I was on probation. I had to follow all these little things.
Right.
So if he wanted to, he could have just called the probation officer and just be like, oh, she doing this, and that would have been it.
Okay.
So he made sure that I knew that to keep me in line.
Yeah.
Okay, now here we go with this.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I got these 2 little babies that I've never raised, no kids. And that's a whole lot too.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not live this lifestyle. And and I'm broke. Girl, for the first, I'm broke. I'm trying to have the budget for like a whole month. Like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so all these factors, right?
Right.
Then I came out the shower, and the director was in my room. And he locked the door and was like, what's up? And I looked at him, I said, if you want it, you're going to pay me for it. And there we go. Straight mentality, just right back. Here we go with the same dumb stuff, right? So at that time, I called my husband and told him with my husband. I just called him. Check it out. I'm going back to prison. So let's make as much money as I can before I go. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a trip how when you try to do, and I think a whole lot of people can understand this when no matter what you're in, when you're trying to do what's right, it seems like every opportunity presents itself to do what's wrong, right?
You end up stuck in a cycle.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so yeah, so bam. So now I'm like, okay. So this is the first time I ever choose a pimp. And me and my best friend ran off with him.
Okay. Which is against your probation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wasn't going to stay there and let dude just do me any kind of way.
Right.
And plus, I didn't want to be broke. So then, so I called my baby father and I'm like, I'm about to go get some money and I need you to take the kids.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. So my husband is a big kid person. Like, he love his kids. Love kids. And that was another thing that attracted me. He took care of my kids all the time, right?
Yeah.
And he was just, he just sucked me in, right? And then, so he would send my baby daddy money every month
to take care of the kids.
Take care of the kids.
Wow.
And so we just went on this spree. You know, we were like, we're gonna go state to state, city to city, and make some money. And again, but I'm gonna tell you, I think that this was coming to the last part of my lifestyle, that where my mind was starting to change on it, and my heart was starting to change on it, because I started feeling ashamed. Now, that year that I went on a run with him, I didn't, because I was in that mode of I'm going to get mine, right?
Yeah.
But I look back now and I realize I think it was starting to come to the end of that, the end of myself.
Okay.
In having to face Kim, for real, face her.
Face yourself.
Face me.
Yeah.
And anyways, make a long story short, that went on for about a year, and I told you that there was a woman that used to watch our kids that was at the house. Her name, we called her Brandy.
Okay.
And I talked to her all the time.
That used to watch everybody's kids. Okay.
And when I finally we got popped and I ended up going to prison.
Okay. Because you knew you were going to go to jail.
Oh, yeah,
so
I knew.
You were trying to stack up as much money as possible.
I was trying to stack up as much money as possible.
So that once you got in, he would take care of you.
That was the deal.
That was the plan. So now y'all went on that run.
That was the plan.
Y'all get popped.
Yeah.
You in jail.
Yeah.
So does he follow through with the rest of the plan?
Girl, no.
What happened?
Girl. So I get there. Anyways, his cousin was in prison with me and was like, she was talking on the phone, and then she was talking to my homegirl. I had just talked to him on the phone, and then she was in the other room talking to my homegirl. She was like, he not going to leave his wife for her.
Talking about you. What wife?
So I went in the room. I was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, he's married.
So you were out with him for about a year and had no idea he was married.
Full blown married, girl. And then, so I'm talking to him and I'm like, was you gonna tell me about the wife? And this is, if you meet him, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was like, we ain't married. We married, but we ain't married. You sound like that, huh? And he was I ain't never been in no relationship, right? And so I was like, what? And he was like, we're married, but we're not together. He's like, we live together, but we're not together.
Okay.
And I was like, and it was the first time in my life someone ran game on me. That's how I felt. Like, you completely ran game on me, right? And he was just like, he's like, I never lied to you. You never asked.
He had a point. No. No, so this is who Brandy is. That's watching all the kids.
This is Coco.
This is Coco. Coco.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You lied to me. Yeah. And the thing that I loved about him, the thing that I respected about him, what I liked the most about, we always kept it real about everything.
Right.
You lied to me and you got my money.
So why wasn't he sending you your money?
Because he had a wife that had access to the money.
So what she do with the money?
Girl. Don't get me started. I love me some cocoa today. I love me some cocoa.
Now that's a whole...
I love me some cocoa. But honey, don't get me started about where my money went. We're going to put that in the past.
All right. So, what happened next?
So then... Okay. So then I get out and I'm like, I'm not going to that dude. You know, and plus, that was never my intention. This was a business transaction.
Right. That wasn't like your pin for good.
It wasn't like we about to be together forever.
Right.
I didn't have no illusions about that.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
Right.
Right? This is coming to an end.
Right.
Because once I get popped, I don't plan on going back. Whoever thought that?
Right.
Right? And I'm getting ready to get out, and he's like, come to the house. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with you.
Right.
You lied, and I want my money back, right? And so he wrote me a letter, let's square up. And I was like, what? What is he talking about? And he wrote me a letter about having a relationship, and I was like, what?
Like, sir, you are married, but not married.
Sir, you are married, right? But when I got out, I didn't have nowhere to go. So I went to the house.
Right.
So me, him, and his wife lived together.
Coco.
So
now it's a family.
I call her my wife-in-law. That's my wife-in-law. But it's not my wife-in-law. You know, in the game, they call each other the wife-in-laws.
No, I don't know.
But, yeah. So in that lifestyle, when the pimp has more than one girl, she's called your wife-in-law.
Okay.
So me and Coco was like wife-in-laws, but we weren't really wife-in-laws.
And then the other girls were there as well.
Yeah, I think he had a couple. Well, that was when we were in the life. Yeah, he had a bunch of girls.
All living in the house together.
Yeah, we were all of us was together.
Right.
You know, but I always knew who I was.
And that becomes a family. You get kind of tied to that part of the life as well, right?
You do.
Right. Because a lot of the girls don't have families outside of that, so you kind of create this.
You do.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of girls, because they do create this family, it's harder to leave.
So you end up stuck. There's so many different ways to remain
There's so
stuck.
many different facets to that culture
Right.
and to that lifestyle. And, you know, it's portrayed in the media or portrayed on movies and all, pimps that just beat up girls and just, you know, but a lot of it is not that. It is more of a community type. I guess maybe kind of like kind of like akin to young dudes that get into the gang. Okay. This is their boys. This is their family. We down with this. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's the same kind of thing when you get into a good stable. Now, some stables is just, that's what's called stable. Okay. But some stables is just crazy. Right. Because you got a bunch of thugs that turned into pimps. Okay. But old school pimps are like, so it's just a whole lifestyle. You dressing, you know, you get up, you sleep all day and then you get up at night and you're getting ready and doing your makeup and everybody, the music is bumping and people smoking weed and it's just like a whole lifestyle. Right, right. It's a hustle. And you get more addicted to the lifestyle than anything. Even more than the money sometimes. Wow. Yeah. Because the money ain't always good. Right. You got to hustle for that. And so you become more addicted to that lifestyle. And it's harder to come out of. I see. Especially here. It's really hard. It's hard to go back to a normal relationship. And not be thinking about what's in his pocket. Wow. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And why am I sitting up here putting up with your mess and playing these games? You know, it's harder to go back to that than anything. Right. So anyways, end up with my husband. Not your husband yet. Not my husband yet. Yeah. Yes, her husband. It's Coco husband. Coco husband. And so me, Coco, and him are together. And I never seen... My husband was clean, but I never saw him in that lifestyle on drugs. Okay. Ever. Okay. So you always knew him to be clean. He was just hustling. I knew him to be a gangster. Okay. I knew him to be a thug. I knew him to be intelligent and, you know, all the things that he was. Right. I never saw him on drugs. Okay. And I didn't even know he had an issue with drugs. And so we're clean. We all living... whatever, doing our thing. And make a long story short, I was fighting for my baby that was in the system. Okay. And they called me to come say goodbye to him. And he was 2. And I had to go to a McDonald's to see my 2-year-old who recognized me because they were saying it wouldn't be a bond and all this other kind of stuff. And say goodbye to him forever. Wow. So I walked out in front of a Mack truck and tried to kill myself. It was another time someone was looking out for me. And I remember that the truck, he came about this close. I mean, he literally hit his brakes and skidded halfway down the street. He would have jackknifed. And I remember just screaming at him, why did you just keep going? And I was walking back from that place. We lived in Nashville City. I was at a McDonald's that I had to meet him and say goodbye. And I was walking back after that happened. And I remember thinking, there has to be something more in life than this. I had to be created for something more than just this. What is my purpose? And I went home and I relapsed. And then my husband relapsed. And then his wife relapsed. And then I hadn't seen my mom in 10 years. And I went to a liquor store across the town. On the track, on a blade, I ran into my mom. And I brought her home. And then my husband found my little sister in Oakland in the same group home that I was in.
Wow.
And we sent for her. This is before we fall. This is, we're all clean. And he brought my whole family back together. And then we all relapsed.
So your mom and your sister.
So
everybody.
me, my mom, my sister, his wife, and my husband are all on dope. And it gets crazy because now he's selling dope across the street from a high school. The house is just turning into a trap house. You know, people in and out, just whatever. It's just, and mind you, I'm on parole because I just got out of prison.
Yeah.
So I'm on parole, and it's just insane. And that was in May 22nd, 2001.
Wow.
But then I didn't know my life was getting ready to change.
Be sure to click the link below to watch part 3.